Hi, Al. Darren Johnson. Darren Johnson. Yeah, of the modern day Einstein. Yeah, I know. Hopefully, these videos will start to spread. As I've exhausted, I believe, my avenues that I have here in Australia, and hopefully, what I can do is brought to the attention of the government here in Australia, because I love my country. We all do. We all love our country, and I would have liked to have given them preference to be able to see what they can get from the knowledge that I've obtained. And yes, I'm capable of advancing the sciences, the likes of which no one ever has since Albert Einstein. I have an understanding. I'm not better than anybody else. Guys like that, Neil Tyson DeGrasse and Brian Cox, and these guys that talk about science, they've got scientific facts nailed. And I would believe that, yeah, they can nail that stuff. But I can just solve things, and I've got an understanding that is like no other. It's a gift. I don't know why I've got it, but I do have it. I've had it for about 7 years. I've been developing it. It really is unbelievable. Now, I would think I'm not limited. I don't know if Einstein, because he was absolutely like what that guy envisioned for his time, like for the time he lived, absolutely incredible and amazing to think that he could come up with what he came up with. Whether or not he could do, he had the ability to see other areas of, I think, life, or because like physics is the study of life. I would think, it's the study of existence. I'm also able to look at cultures such as the ancient Egyptians, and I'll pretty much look at the Middle Kingdom, the tomb builders, and yeah, I understand them. I understand them. The same guy over in Egypt's been in charge for ever since I was a boy, and me and my father were fascinated with it, and it's really weird. I've never spoken to my father about the fact that I can solve the secrets of the Egyptians. I know, and they weren't called Egyptians. Like, we call them ancient Egyptians, but obviously they wouldn't have called themselves ancient. So I know that they didn't know what they were called. But anyway, going back to Einstein, well known that Einstein moved to the United States, right? Why did he move to the United States? Because Hitler was coming into power. Somehow Einstein realised that Hitler, if he became chancellor, head chancellor, he kind of foresaw what Hitler was going to do, and therefore he cut off the scientific community. He harnessed his scientific force to work for him, to develop ideas that he could use against the rest of the world. And that's not what scientists want to do. Braun, von Braun, he wanted to go to the moon. He wanted to, he was into rocketry and all that kind of thing. Einstein disappeared though, because Einstein knew how to split the atom. And it would have been a conundrum that Einstein had to deal with, because for whatever reason, he knew that it could be used in a capacity that would take life. But it got to a point because the scientific community of Germany had been cut off. And when Hitler had advanced, had put his troops into Finland, there's still water in there, and that's used to enrich uranium. And Einstein was paranoid that the development of this bomb was as such from splitting the atom, that Hitler may have somehow found his old research, and that they could have been developing that, because they knew what he'd, where he'd been going with it. So he went to the Americans, and he basically got an audience with the president, saying that it's possible for this to be, this technology that he knows of, this science that he's developed, it can be used to make a hydrogen bomb or an atom bomb. And he didn't want to put his name to it, but the fact is that because of that, we have nuclear weapons, and he wouldn't have wanted to give it to anyone. Like, he didn't want to, and that's why he ran away from Hitler, because he knew if Hitler got it, plus von Braun had this rocketry, like he foresaw the crisis that the world would be in if nuclear weapons came into to development. And the Americans obviously said, let us have it, because we'll keep you safe. It'll only be us. We won't give it to anybody else. But that wasn't the case. They put the Manhattan Project together, and the Russians were spying, and the Russians stole it, and they gave it to the British because they were allied, and then they stuck them in Turkey, and then the British gave it to the French, and then China got it from, they bought it from somewhere, or developed, because they had it. India did it, and then India and Pakistan got it because India got it, and so it just, Einstein didn't want anyone to have it. And then there it was. Everyone had it. So I got no doubt, right? I got no doubt. The reason I've never spoken about what I can do, and like I said, it's only been developed in the last 7 years. I couldn't do this before 7 years ago. The reason I don't talk about it or say it, because, I don't know. I don't know if the world's ready to hear what it is I know. Knowing what happened to Einstein, the fact that I might get stolen by the Chinese, because I believe that there's a saying that overlooks me, and I don't understand where it comes from, but it's they that look over he are in turn looked over by they, and that would believe me that there could be something that is of spiritual aspect to our life that could be out there, and science poses the question of whether or not we actually do make our own decisions, or is what we do always going to be actually happening. Therefore, do we think that we're making our decisions when in factuality we are not? So it kind of gives the opportunity to the fact that in our existence, in the physical and non-physical realms, that there could be something that oversees it all, that spiritually is actually there. But it wouldn't be anything in reference to what they do here on Earth now, currently. That would be incorrect. But and something that oversees whatever it is that we are a part of, the big picture of what we're a part of. Now, what we are a part of. Now, there are many conundrums that go with that. Einstein, I would believe that he would have understood that he's only a stepping stone. As I understand, I'm not only a stepping stone as well. I'm only doing this because I can actually teach others to know what I know in terms so easy, because it is so easy for me to teach. But I also will be a stepping stone for others to then continue on, and somebody will come about in another 100 years and further what it is that I can do. I know that this will happen because Einstein would have understood no children. The only way that he could actually live on in time is for somebody to further what it is that he knew. Now, he took us to a lot of different places, and I understand everything that he spoke of. General relativity and quantum mechanics, I understand that. I'm going to help out with something right today so that we understand the concept of time. The Big Bang Theory. Like, there's that television show, the whole world started called Dense State, and Big Bang Theory. It's been going on for years. They still play it here. And I just thought, well, I'm gonna have to give them the answer. So time and the Big Bang Theory and the concepts of time, and why they've got differing definitions in general relativity and that in quantum mechanics. Now, I'll get stuck into it again. Like Anthony Albanese, one of the greatest prime ministers that this country's ever going to have in history. When history looks back, Mr. Albanese, I'd love to come work for you. Right? If you want to see how something can go backwards in time, but not actually, time itself, because time itself cannot go backwards, because you can't unexist something, but in concept, you can unexist something. You can physically take molecules apart, all right? And think about that. Einstein could split the atom, all right? I'm the next step. I can pull molecules apart, all right? Now that's pretty fucking up there. I'm common though. I'm an Australian. I'm the next step from Einstein. Einstein's a bit weird. I'm a bit weird. All right, let's go. Here we go with the Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory. All right. Now the concept was really hard to understand, because how could something come of nothing? Right now, you got to actually clear your mind and realize that there was absolute nothing. Like, there was absolute nothing. Whatever it is we were a part of, right, didn't exist at all. Nothing was in existence, like complete, absolute zero, nothingness. Right? Now, everything comes in threes. Johnson's properties are threes. Three is the underlying. There was three actions required. No, three properties that are actions that were required for the physical and non-physical realm to come into the realities, right? The physical and non-physical realm. Yeah, there's two different realms, physical and non-physical realm. For them to come into reality, there had to be three things, right? What are the three things? You never guess, because no one can get this right. All right, there needed to be existence. Yeah, existence itself. Existence in theoretic science is an actual scientific action. It needs to be defined as the ability for something to exist. Existence, the ability for something to exist. Now, existence isn't something that you can see. You can't measure it, but it is real. It is real. For something to exist, I exist. Therefore, I'm real. I'm real. I can't unexist. Once I'm here, I can't go backwards. Therefore, it's a scientific term. It's a scientific function, and it's a basics. It's a fundamental. Right. So, because now existence was there, right, in whatever it was, existence was there. right? Time. Time, see what's become of me as I look around for my possibilities. Right, time, right? Time. Does time exist? It's the big question. And they're trying to say that time isn't relevant, time doesn't exist. And it's different in quantum gravity to the theory of relativity. Yes, time has different definitions. I will explain this to us. Time itself has to exist in our universe, right? In our universe, yes, it has to exist. It has to exist. Why does it have to exist? Because time is what enables everything to grow. Everything grows with time. Since that's been like that since the start of time. Yes, exactly right. Existence has been has been able since the start of time. So with existence came the existence of time. Time allows us to grow because, right, it would have started at zero. We read time off a clock. We read it. We don't measure it, right? We read it because time is different. Time is, depending on where it's relative, it's different, right? And it has different definitions. But, like when it came in, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So it just kept getting bigger, right? It just getting bigger. We get to 60 and we call it an hour. But imagine there was no hours. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just kept counting, right, for time. You just kept counting. You'd never stop, would you? It never stopped. It'd just keep growing. Yes, time grows. Time grows. So with that, everything grows with it, including, the universe. The universe, it popped up. So we had time and existence, so things could exist. But what things? Particles. Particles of matter. Particles of matter could exist, all right? But not just particle of matter, force. Force could exist. Physical and non-physical realm. There's a non-physical realm. Force is real. Theory in rotation. What is it? Work in revelation. Work in revelation. Wow, big one. Big one. Work in revelation. The law of motion. Yeah, Sir Isaac Newton. Wow, bang. That's the one, wasn't it? That was the one. Motion is what is required to allow a physical and non-physical realm to exist. Because time, right? Without time, right? Without time, you'd be stuck, right? Nothing could move. Nothing could move, could it? Because you'd be stuck because time doesn't go forward. You couldn't move without time, right? But motion is what's required for movement to allow time. So you have to have motion, time, and existence. So for something to exist, you need motion. And for motion to exist, it has to have existence. So existence needs to exist for there to be time, and time needs to tick so things can grow. But for time to move forward, and things to move, you got to have motion. You got to have motion for things to be able to move forward. For time to move forward, you need motion. So they're the three actions. They're the fundamentals of existence. Of reality, of the physical and non-physical realm. They're what you require. So with those three fundamental actions, motion, existence, time, bang. There was the Big Bang. All right, now, well, what came into existence? Well, our universe came into existence. Right? It is motion, right? It is motion. It is motion. Yeah, it grows because of time. It grows. That's what the universe does. Everyone knows that it grows. So the universe grows because of motion, and we allow things to exist. Therefore, we can see them. Things actually exist. Now, when it comes to particles and matter and elements, right? When they all hit one another, they grow, and there's another Big Bang. When they chemically, there's a chemical reaction, but they grow and they turn into something else, and they have properties, and they've got properties, and they've got force, and the force is unseen, but it's really there, and there's a force of magnetism, and magnetism's in there. Magnetism is the force that it's the underlying force of the universes, and it's because of magnetism that the pressure is as such that it motion pushes it to the fact that through time it grows, but it also it pulls things together. It's just magnetism. It's a force. It's a force that we can't measure magnetism, but it's always there. It's always there. We can't see it, but it's there. It's there. It's the non-physical realm. The non-physical realm. All right. These 12 Swedish scientists, God bless them, they came up with the journal, scientific journal that they released, and I saw how narrow-minded the scientific community actually are. They just could not believe how stupid their underlying theory was, their underlying concept of the theory was. They had come up with 12 scientists, 12 Swedish scientists over 6 years, this study, and they were trying to prove that at the time of the Big Bang into existence came two universes, and there was ours, and I say ours because the other one was a different existence. In ours, we go forward in time, as we know, we go forward in time. But they believed that in this second universe that it was in existence, that it went backwards in time. Now, we can't go backwards in time because existence is as defined in a scientific term, in theoretical science, it is the ability for something to exist, right? Now, if something exists, it can't unexist. Once it comes into existence, it's there. It exists. It can't unexist. You can't go backwards in time, for therefore you'd be pulling molecules and atoms apart, and you can't unexist something. So it can't unexist. Einstein himself, he put studies into the speed, going faster than the speed of light. Now, as we know, light is also measured, in time. So therefore, he's talking about time, and when he's trying to go faster than the speed of light. Therefore, it wasn't possible. No matter what he did, he could not find a way to go faster than the speed of light. Now, that is something that I can also explain. Now, what that then tells us is, right, he came up with the theory that if someone was at some point able to actually go faster than the speed of light, if the fabric of the universe, would be such that it could possibly implode. Why? Because time going backwards. Time is a factor of the universe being here. And the fact that time is what allows the universe to grow. If time goes backwards, then we'd be taking away, the fabric, the concept that just it couldn't compute. Just wouldn't happen. So, all right. Now, I honestly believe, by reading through, I thought to myself, well, here I am. I'm not a scientist, and I was kind of finding it funny how these other scientists just wanted to destroy their concept and just basically tell them how stupid they thought they were. It's kind of really funny, but like I said, I thought it was very narrow-minded, because I thought to myself, I'm going to read through it and see if something positive can come out of it. Perhaps they just didn't get it right, because for whatever reason, I understand that I've got a good understanding of certain things, and I therefore look at things and I just see it differently, and therefore have a different interpretation. Perhaps they just might have got something wrong. So I had a look at it, and holy shit. Turns out their actual study, their study that they put together, they didn't read it right. They just didn't know what they were looking at. They couldn't read their own science. Now, basically, at the end of the day, what they stumbled across was the greatest scientific revelation that our race, the humans, would have ever known of. Because, them believing that there was a second universe that came into existence at the time of the Big Bang, proving that there is a second universe as opposed to our own. The whole multiverse theory is correct. They were right. They were actually correct. They just didn't know what they were looking at. Now, it's impossible to go backwards in time. So what's the best way to actually explain what it is that they got wrong? All right, we'll look at the clock. Now, our clock measures time. That doesn't measure time. It reads time. It gives us the ability to read time. Now, for us, we believe we can measure it, but we've given that a measurement. Now why I can have that, what we can do to prove that and explain to the average person what time is and why it has different definitions. All right. Now, if we look at an animal, right, because they say about time, like we always talk about ourselves, right? We always talk about humankind. Now, forget us, right? Don't worry about us, because we define everything through speech, right? Animals don't have speech, right? Now, it'd be perfect to look at an animal and see, does time exist to them? Yeah, it does. A perfect example. Because why? Because when do they eat? When they eat? When they're hungry, yeah. When it's time for them to eat. When it's time for them to eat, they eat. When it's time for them to breed, they breed. When it's time for them to nurture, they nurture. When it's time for them to protect themselves, they protect themselves. Now, is that measurable? No, but it's definitely a time. Yeah, it's a distinctive point in time. It's a point in time. So they're showing us that, these time relevancies exist in different definitions, but by different definition, that is definitely time. Yeah, definitely time. It goes in a cycle for them, in a life cycle. Time to eat, time to hibernate, time to nurture, time to mate. Time. There's all these times for animals. They definitely have a time. Definitely, they know time. Time is definitely a concept. Now, us, we should be able to look at it as the seasons. Like, we know when it's. We didn't have a clock or a calendar, right? And that's what we say. We talk about clock and calendar. Forget them, right? We would still know when it was time to plant. We still know when it was time to grow. We still know when the best time was to harvest. We know all that, right? We know what the best time was to do that. We wouldn't be measuring it. We just know what time that was. So we'd know that time was actually there. So time does physically exist in our realm. And yes, it is constant. It's a constant flow. And that's what general relativity, quantum mechanics, right? It defines time as a flow, as a constant flow. And yeah, it is a constant flow. 24 hours. 24 hours is the day on Earth. And we can read that by a clock here on Earth. So yes, it is a constant flow. It is a constant flow. We can say that's 1,000 light years away, and we're talking distance. All right, it's a constant flow. So if you went light years, all right, light years, you're talking about how much time it takes to get to a place. Right? And we think it's distance, right? Distance, but it's time. It's how much time it takes to get to a place. All right, so going back to, all right, so backwards in time. All right, this is what they didn't understand. I believe there is a second universe. Yes, I believe, because they believed it, right? They just couldn't prove it. Why couldn't they prove it? Because they didn't understand the concept. The concept is, all right, you look at the clock. Now, we look at a clock, right? And it starts at 12 o'clock, right? And now the big hand and the little hand are both on 12. And then the little hand starts ticking, tick, tick, little hand, tick, 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 tick. And it goes forward in time to 1 o'clock. How long does that take? 60 minutes. We call it an hour. So it's gone forwards in time. It's taken 60 minutes. All right, you're in the other universe, right? And now it's under the law, the third law of motion, because everything in our universe moves. It grows. So it's motion. It's motion. It's poetry of motion. And third law is, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So for one action being out the birth of our universe, there's an opposite and equal. So there's an opposite, all right? So you think about the clock in the opposite universe. It's in the opposite universe, all right? And it ticks, and it goes backwards. It goes backwards in time. Tick, 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 tick. It goes backwards in time to 11. Holy shit, they're right. It goes backwards in time. It went to 11. All right, so it went backwards in time. Did it really go backwards in time? Well, you think about it. How long did it take to go from 12 to 11? Yeah, it took 60 minutes. Yeah, it still took an hour to get backwards in time. So did it go backwards in time? Yeah, it did go backwards in time. Did it actually go backwards? Did it physically go back? No, it physically went forwards in time, just that it went opposite. It went opposite to, its clock went opposite to our clock. So therefore, there's another universe. There's another universe in existence that is opposite to us. How is it opposite? Well, we spin. We spin from. We revelate. Every planet in our universe revelates. What is it? This direction. Basically, we go. They all go the same way. They all go the same way, except for Venus, because it's upside down. But we all go like this. The sun comes up in the east and sets in the west. In the opposite universe, the second universe that also existed at the same time of the Big Bang came into existence. It goes from west to east. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? All right, that's kick-ass, isn't it? Kick-ass. So for every action, there's an opposite. So that's the third law of motion. So because of motion, time, and existence, the second one exists, all right? And it goes opposite to us, all right? Now, this is the real kicker. What's the equal? Wow. And therefore, why is time different in theory of relativity, because relativity is explaining to us what is possible in all realms, as in dimensional realms. Dimensional. So us and the other universe share a dimension. We share the same dimension. Our reality is the same. We share the same reality, right? But there is another dimension. There is another reality that is able to be entered into, that is different to the reality that we share. And in that reality, time is measured, or time is able to be manipulated. Time is able to be, time is relevant to the situation within that universe, within that dimension that it exists in. It's relevant. It's what do they call it? Malleable. Meaning that it therefore is the equal to the existence of the universe and opposite universe. It is the equal, and therefore, what would its reason for being there actually probably be if it's both our equals? Well, we can't fly out of the universe, obviously. We can never get out of this universe. We're stuck in our universe. So what's the point of there being a second universe? Like, can we get to it anyway? No, we can't, because we can't fly out of our universe. Well, we can get to it via the other dimension. And that's why the other dimension exists, to allow us to pop out of our universe We go into another dimension where nothing exists, time doesn't exist, and we can then appear in the second dimension, in the second universe, back into the relevance of the reality that we currently share. And what will we find that's different in the other universe? And what kind of opposites do you think there'll be? Like, and the planets spin the other way. All right, that'd be one. All right. The elements would all be the same, but you see that your quarks, they've got, what do they call it? Oh, wow. See, someone like Brian Cox and Neil Tyson DeGrasse, they'd actually understand that, where something flickers here and then they believe it flickers somewhere else. Yeah, that happens opposite. It happens. There's one. It happens here in this universe and it happens in the other universe. They're connected, but they're in different universes. That's what symmetry. The field of symmetry exists in the different universes, and that's how it exists. All right. Now, this is a real weird thing. All right. This is something you really need to understand. All right. What is the opposite color to black? And you say white. Yeah. No, it's not. No, it's not. All right. What's the opposite to red? Yeah. You don't know, do you? Because how could you know? You couldn't know if it was an opposite color. Like we'd already have it. Like you'd be working with pink. You tried colored. Yeah. No, there's opposites to every color we know. Every color we know, right? The opposite of black isn't white. The opposite of black, lives in the other universe. You go into the other universe. It's got different colors. It's got opposite colors to our universe. Opposite colors. What's the opposite of yellow? Yeah, you don't know, do you? Try and guess. No, you can't. You couldn't. How could you? Yeah, it's a color. If you saw it, you'd say like, "I've seen it." If you got to the other universe, you'd be able to say, "Oh, I know what the color of. I know what opposite. I know what's the opposite of yellow." Now, somebody might be good enough to actually do the math and find out what the actual. They might be able to expand on it without going to the other universe. But yeah, all right. Therefore, there's dimension. The fourth dimension, as we call it, the fourth dimension. Yeah, it connects the two universes. Through what? Well, you'd have to say that Einstein, he was pretty well onto something, wasn't he, when he came up with the theory of a wormhole? What's the wormhole do? Yeah, the wormhole connects us. Yeah, doesn't it? It goes through the fourth dimension. Yeah, it goes through the fourth dimension, and we go through our end, and we end up in the other universe through a wormhole. Wormholes exist. Where I won't tell you right now because I'm blowing your mind with just this shit. Obviously, this stuff's just way. I'll let this sink in. All right, but yeah, all right. This is the kind of thing I'm going to be able to do now. I'm going to go into the explanation as to why I understand the relevance of myself and Einstein. Now, Einstein, as I said to you, like he came about with the splitting of the atom, all right, but he also understood that the fact that something couldn't unexist, right? Couldn't unexist. Therefore, I was looking into his work. Therefore, I understand that he was looking into trying to travel faster than the speed of light, right? And he realized that you can't do it. Now, if that's the case, right? If he understood that you couldn't go faster than the speed of light, how is it that E equals mc squared, right? How is it that E is squared when speed of light in a vacuum can't be squared? It can't be squared. You can't go faster than the speed of light. Why would you square it? You can't square it. And he knew that. How would somebody that understood that you can't go faster than the speed of light? Why would he leave that? Why would he leave that most famous equation in the history of our people? Why would he leave that as E equals mc squared, knowing that it's wrong? Wow. There you go. I'll be back. Bye.